Today, we are speaking about Ken Robinson, who is a real star of the world's educational thought. He has collected millions of views on his TED Talks. His books are translated and published all over the world, and his views on the educational challenges are actively multiplied and discussed in academia and further. On this slide, you can see Sir Ken and the book Creative Schools that was first published in 2016. Today, we are going to go through the most important thoughts in this book. Sir Ken Robinson starts with the pillars on which modern mass school was built on. He talks about the industrial roots of state mass education. Mass school education was launched during the industrialization epoch. The states and factories needed skilled workers on the plants, since working without a basic literacy was not possible anymore. So school as an institution repeated a lot of processes that were about factories too. Centralized and controlled routine, fixed schedule for work and rest, change of work type with whistle, frequent testing of quality and quantity of production, penalties for violation of those standards. Ken Robinson is sure, with the farewell of the industrial epoch, this kind of schools should go too. Among other not mentioned things, modern school has also these faults that trace back to those times. First of all, it's a pursuit of super high results. Students only thrive for high results on the test papers, as if these results really solve the majority of issues in their careers later. Also, it's about omitting entrepreneurship as an important thing and skill set. But without entrepreneurial skills, it would be very hard for students to run projects and to be in charge. Also, not enough attention is given to experiment based education. But experiment as such is a must for an active person in the 21st century. And of course, not objective assessment and evaluation. Although we might think that we know how to test students, we usually do it in a very bad way. Not objective evaluation and assessment in our schools is a normal thing, despite the learners are literally overtested inside and outside the class. The exams as a part of this overtesting of students don't facilitate the burst of beneficial knowledge. As C. Robb says, final exams finish all contemplation, discussion, and communication. As long as we start preparing for the tests, everything stops. And he adds, it is high time to recover the balance in schools. Learning should be in the center of education process, but not testing. Sir Robinson hates testing. First, he speaks about external mass international testing and its faults. For instance, about PISA. Robinson emphasizes that such unified testing can give a whole picture of the skills of students. Moreover, it can be the main motivation to change some country's educational system. These kinds of tests don't take into consideration the answers to the open questions that Rob himself finds the most important. As well, these tests don't create unique graduates in the long run, by that, hurting the salaries of these future graduates. Unification and increase of testing outside the school is only one side of the coin. Assessment during the study process is a big problem too. There is one big issue with evaluation and assessment in particular. These grades the students get matter almost nothing. First of all, the grade is given by the teacher, so we have a more subjective result there than an objective one. It's a pity, but not all learners understand it. For Sir Robinson, a portfolio should be given one of the most important roles in the evaluation of students' progress in future. These grades could be there, but they can't really influence whether student A or B will be hired for a job. Portfolio, on the contrary, is a thing that can be easily shown to a future employer. Evaluation of the results and grading can be also outsourced for the peers. When students give grades to their own colleagues, they understand the frameworks of giving these grades and as well they learn how to give feedback in the proper way. So, what should new modern school look like? Mr. Robinson proposes a metaphor of a school as an organic farm. In this school, the teacher is a gardener and a student is a fruit tree. How does a gardener work with the tree in general? Does he try to cut it only when the tree gives apples but not pears as he wants? Probably not. Does the gardener try to help each tree grow in the best possible way without interfering to the core program of each tree? Well, perhaps yes. In new school, the teacher tries to direct and help a student overcome hard crises in his life, but doesn't want to break the students into pieces because he or she doesn't fit the system. Let's look at the principles on which this new organic school is built. They match with the principles of organic farming. First of all is health of everything that is engaged in the farming process, soil, plants, animals, the whole planet. Everything is equally important. The same in education. Also, it's about ecology. It's very important to maintain the balance and interconnections among biological systems. Third is adjust. Everything and everybody should follow honest but fair rules. And finally, care. Before launching an innovation, everybody should think about the influence of these innovations on the environment in the future. The same in education. There are a couple of important things to add to the concept of organic school. The first accent is on creative arts, as these skills are a must in the 21st century. Art and creation is about an opportunity to think out of the box, produce ideas, and add a value. Art is not the opposite of discipline and control, it's just about different discipline and different control. The locomotive of art is the thrive for discoveries and motivation to work. And these things are so easily killed by overtesting. How can you discover things if you prepare for a dozen tests next semester? It is hard to assess creative arts by some numbers and grades. For instance, how can a project of student A be evaluated and compared with the student's B project? Both of them can be successful or unsuccessful in real life. Mass education was launched due to the vast need of industries in the 21st century, and economic need was prior to some other motivations of the state. New schools should look at the economy and its requirements. That's why modern education should go for, first of all, economic independence and ability of a student in his future. Yes, we ought to think how the information we give now relates to the jobs they'll have in 10 years. Education should follow economy, so maximum freedom of actions but in the framework of rules. For instance, modern workdays are not that much restricted as before, so project based scheduling could be also a better case for schools. The students should be taught and prepared for their future office life, and they will appreciate it. Here, the concept of slow education emerges. Students can get education with a different tempo. There is no sense to tell something to students that decide to move with a ship of education not as fast as others. And of course, more games. Modern entrepreneurial life is basically a non stop game with a lot of stakeholders, and we must prepare them for that business environment and behavior in advance. Moreover, it's really fun. Schools should help with other social interactions in a society as well. Looking on the democratic systems that prevail in our countries, schools should also have that democracy. For example, students must have an opportunity to choose their classes and even partly choose the management of schools. As well, evaluation should be individualized and we should give an opportunity to be back on the track if something happens. In general, a pupil should feel that his or her voice matters. One of the frameworks that might work well in this situation is flipped classroom. New method gives students an opportunity to receive information not from the teacher but from the materials that could be in a video or a text format that had been written or recorded by the teacher before. So the input is actually done at home before the lesson. So the lesson itself in the classroom is dedicated solely to the students and their ideas, interaction, and feedback on the given topic. Of course, such ideas become possible now because a teacher doesn't hold a monopoly position in the information market. Technologies let us do things in different ways. By the way, such methods give an opportunity for a teacher to record a video and use it for a couple of years and skip giving bad lectures, especially when the teacher is tired. Everyone is happy. The good lecture is there. Students practice enough at the lesson. Better results are achieved. Flipped classroom, as well as an organic school in general, look at students and their motivation from a totally different perspective. As for now, thanks, that's all. See you later.